So we'll go around the table and introduce our players real quick, and so we'll start with Cliff over on the left-hand side of the screen. Cliff, you can also find him over at Quest and Cliffhangers on Twitch, where he streams D&D on Thursdays. I believe he starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right?
You got it.
Yep. So go ahead and introduce us to your character.
Thank you. So, so I'm playing Aston Courtney. He is become the face of the group. He's the talker, but he's also the shooter. Kind of quasi begrudged captain after the departure of our previous one. And he his brain was hijacked by an alien being, and he now has a dual personality, which unlocked access to psionic abilities. So he's a handful.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we haven't touched on that actually in a few episodes because you haven't had to use your powers actually in a while. So, but and then next we'll go over to the one to his right on the screen. Matt, he's a wonderful illustrator. And you can find his art at the website. Actually, I'll link in chat. And he's playing our scientist. And I'll let him tell you more about his character. Go ahead, Matt.
I am playing Arthur Haeckel, a young scientist and inventor. He's recently met up with his sister under kind of terrible circumstances on the last ship they were on. We'll see what happens with her, and yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And then of course we have our stowaway from many sessions ago, who's finally found himself here at home on the ship. Shaun, tell us who you're playing today.
So I am playing Spencer Witt, who, as Shane said, originally came to the crew as a stowaway. He was an extremely unsuccessful stowaway because he got found in like the first 5 minutes. But the reason he stowed away is because he was on the run from the Tanu Klava, as I always say, is the space mafia, who he was working for as a mind reader, because Spencer has psychic abilities. So he decided he didn't want to be in the criminal business anymore and stowed away on the ship, and he's been trying to make himself useful and lay low at the same time ever since, with varying degrees of success on both of those accounts. So
very cool, very cool. And our last camera over on the far right brings us to Brandon. Brandon plays our former salvage worker, our space salvage worker, and now our pilot. He can tell you about Clint.
Yeah, as you said, Clint is the newest addition to the Griffin Explorer. He's primarily the pilot and a little bit of a do-gooder when he can. And he is, at most, only an accessory to mass manslaughter.
Yep. He allowed them to survive the mass manslaughter so they could be haunted by their dreams about it. Yep, because he helped them survive in the asteroid belt. So, all right.
Yep.
Okay. So we're actually going to begin with a scene that's happening far away from the players. A scene that harkens back to our first few episodes of this show. A scene that Brandon will have no fucking clue what's happening, but the rest of you might. So we're going to see a dusty, sandy, flat surface, right? The scene kind of zooms in on that, right? And you see the black, mucky soil. And suddenly you just see boots smashing down on this black soil, smearing the brown sand and the black muck together as someone's running at breakneck speed across it. The black just marred across their boot as they're running across the ground. You hear heavy breathing. It zooms in on the face and you see a young boy. You guys This boy is familiar. It's the oldest child of... GM had to remind himself of the name. Mary Jo Stockton. Tommy. He's running. Breakneck speeds. Swarms of grubs chasing after him. The shrill sounds of them coming after him. He's running as fast as he can to the UTV, trying to get to safety. You hear the sound of his brother Ben tumbling to the ground behind him. He turns back and yells, "Ben!" And he tries to run back to help his brother at just the last moment. The swarms start to pile up over the top of Ben. But Ben raises his hands up to protect himself, just like this, at the last moment. And as Ben does, the swarms stop in their tracks. Almost as if at his command. And they all stop all around him. And they all just give him a wide berth. Ben, frightened, frantic, climbs up to his feet, runs back to the UTV. All these creatures just kind of stop and would start scurrying in the same place. And Ben runs back to the UTV and meets up with Tommy. And they just both look at each other, just completely bewildered by what's happening. And Tommy says, "What's happening to them?" Ben's just as confused as he is. And Ben says, "We have to get him back in the pits." Okay, get the flamethrowers. We have to scare them back in. He says, "Okay, you go get him, Tommy." Tommy runs over the shed. Ben stays in the UTV, afraid to go anywhere else. But as soon as Tommy leaves, the swarms start coming over to Ben. But instead of trying to attack Ben, they all start surrounding the UTV. He's frightened. He's scared. He doesn't know what to do. People start trying to come over to Ben to try to help him and save him. But the swarms won't let him. Ben screams, "Help! Help! Help!" And the screen goes black. We return to Aston and Clint. The two of you are on the Ilar defensive vessel. They wanted to debrief you about what happened on the science vessel. They wanted to ask what's transpired on it, that sort of stuff. They haven't stepped foot on it at all yet. And I was going to give you the guys the chance to decide how much you wanted to tell them. Okay. Now, I want to lay the ground rules first. There's no way that they're going to give up this ship to Ilar. Sorry, not to Ilar. There's no way they're going to give up this ship to Astra Unum. There's pretty much some ground rules, and there's like a cap on what you're going to be able to get with persuasion rules. Does that make sense? Like it happened in Ilar space. I mean, Ilar's going to take care of it, if that makes any sense. When Ilar got called to help with that adventure card, it became an Ilar affair. So Ilar is going to handle it. But they want to be debriefed about everything. And it's essentially a requirement that you guys debrief them. And that adventure card is going to help you guys in this situation. What was that adventure card again? Remind me, it was something like dress to the occasion or something like that, right? It was. We were talking about it. Oh yeah, adventure deck.
Dress to kill.
Dress to kill. Yes, thank you.
That was
Plus 2 persuasion rolls. So yes, I know it was like 2 sessions ago. Yeah, it was like 5 weeks ago. We've missed a couple sessions. So you will get. Hey, I still you spent an adventure card on it, so I'm gonna let you have it. So Cliff, you have that card.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So, so what does dress to kill look like for you?
Does he have a captain's hat?
Exactly. So we're already on the ship, like en route to this debriefing, I assume.
I mean, I just assumed it'd be easier to say that you're already there, like you're in the room in the meeting, and whatever preparations you wanted to do in advance, you could say you already did. I mean, I just thought it'd be easier.
Yeah. So I mean, if I knew that I had to talk to anybody, then I would definitely dress up in the full regalia. I would have my nice tailored suit on with the synth weave underneath it. It would be mostly like my normal attire, but I would be, make sure that everything's pressed, everything's nice looking if I got to go speak to anybody in a formal capacity. And like when talking to Clint, going with him on this, I'd say, we're just going to answer the questions they ask. We don't give them any additional information. We don't volunteer anything to them, but we will comply with any of the questions asked.
I don't think that's the right approach. While it's certainly admirable to be loyal to Astra Unum, you have a ship filled with a bunch of flesh-eating space monsters that presumably want to escape and expand. And if we want them to clear the ship and save as many of the living people as possible, they're going to need more information than what they even know to ask.
This has less to do with Astra Unum and more to do with I know how Ilar politics are.
Well,
Anthony
if it comes
Wright
down
has
to
money, we will be thrown under. I am saying this to save our asses.
I mean, we can't let those things off the ship, and there's innocents on there that need to be saved.
I agree. I am 100% agreeance with you on that. Especially about not letting them off.
So I will not volunteer information unless I think that it's necessary to get the people off the ship safely. But I have no real concern about Anthony Wright or Astra Unum at this point. They're not. My ass is not my first concern.
Oh. Our ass is my first concern. My second concern is making sure all those zombies are fucked.
Okay, so we'll say that. We'll say that someone enters the room, and you guys are already at the table. And he comes in and he sets a slab on the table, which is essentially just a metallic board with a holographic display above it. Essentially like a fancy version of a space tablet. And he just kind of sets it on the table, and you hear a metallic ding as it sets down in front of you. And he says, I'm Inspector Thompson. And you are. He reaches his hand out to shake both your hands.
Inspector Thompson, my name is Aston Courtney. I am the captain of the vessel. This is my pilot. Reach out so you can introduce yourself.
I'm the pilot.
Not offering names, I see. It's okay. I'm sure we could figure it out somehow. He says, so we definitely came into a strange situation here. The ship definitely looks beaten up. and it's apparently inoperable, except for those weapons that fired up towards the end. The whole situation is quite strange. So, care to answer any questions for us about what happened here? Just fill in really all the gaps before we head over there.
That's why we're here, to answer any questions you have. I don't know how many gaps we can fill up. Everything kind of sprung up on us. So we'll definitely do whatever we can, though.
So you weren't here from the beginning of the situation? You weren't here from the beginning?
Well, we were here from the beginning, but the beginning happened long before we knew it did. By the time we realized what was going on, we were in the thick of everything.
Actually, let's roll a, real quick, before we start, let's just roll a general reaction roll. See how this guy's temperament is towards you. So, I cannot remember for the life of me what that's called in this edition. You remember what that's called in this edition?
I don't. I know it's a D6 is what you roll, I'm pretty sure. And 6 is high, 1 is low, but I can't remember what they call it.
Ah, there we go. It's 2d6. Neutral. Okay. You don't have anything to modify that, do you?
No.
Okay.
No, unless the whole dress to kill thing would change it.
No. He says, okay. All right. And are you both Astra Unum employees, or what's your relationship to them?
We are essentially subcontractors underneath them.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you take us through from the beginning, what you saw, how the events played out, just real quickly, just and out of character, by the way, you don't have to go out of character. We don't have to spend time like going over the entire thing. If you want to just kind of like skip over a recollection of everything, you can just tell me if you're omitting anything, if you want to.
So right off the rip, I would be omitting that we were in the med bay with Devin.
Okay.
I would be starting off my recollection of there was an explosion that I don't know what it was that knocked me unconscious. I went to my room to figure out what was going on. I was attacked by an Astra Unum employee, or someone dressed like an Astra Unum employee. And by the time all this happened, that's when there was all this crazy shit going on, and there were these things. So
these things. Do you elaborate on these things? I'm assuming you're talking about the zombies. Do you just use the word things?
I would just say these things. I would be vague about it. As detailed as to say, like, they looked like people, but they weren't acting like you or I.
So at that point, he interjects and doesn't just continue just tapping away at his tablet. He says, things. I mean, you're starting to sound a little ridiculous here now, right?
Inspector, I'm sure that you have some footage from the ship at some
We
point
haven't boarded it yet.
Well,
I mean, we're trying to figure out what we're expecting when we get on board.
Well, that's what you have to expect, is that there are people on board this vessel that are not acting as you or I are acting. They cannot be reasoned with. They are just mindless. They all seemed to have some sort of common goal. They were working together. And I definitely felt like us being there, we were against that goal in some way that we were not known about. And, we were lucky to survive.
I think at this point, this is the point when persuasion rolls are necessary, because how he takes this information and how, like, whether he scoffs it off or whether he just writes it down or whether he just thinks I should just put these guys in the loony bin or whether I should take them seriously or not will depend on the results of the persuasion roll.
You got it. And I get a free one too, so
See if you can get a raise. Hey, a raise. Okay. All right. He goes,
would I still be fatigued?
Probably not. You probably spent some time like salvaging and that kind of stuff, and fatigue is only like like a half an hour or something like that. So take it off.
So let's get rid of that. So that's a 9.
Yeah. So, and he goes, I haven't heard of anything like these things that you described before, but I'll write it down and tell my team to be prepared for something like that.
Yeah, just whatever you do, this is a combat exercise. If you're going on that ship, this is a combat exercise. And if you, for even a moment, try to pretend that it's not, you're going to suffer casualties from your team. So I implore you, this is a combat exercise if you're boarding that vessel.
And even though he seems to like he's not giving you any like ridiculous looks or glances or anything like that, he still looks over at Clint to see if he's corroborating your story. He doesn't say anything, but he's just looking over at you.
Clint was about to interject anyways. Something that the captain didn't say or may not necessarily realize, it appears to be a biological thing that is infecting some people, and there are scattered groups of survivors. We rescued at least one of those, but there are still people that are uninfected and over there.
Okay. All right. Well, this has officially become a rescue operation now. Okay. Okay. All right, so I need you all to fill out some forms, and he sends you some forms to your PDDs, comlinks, or whatever. Actually, you can't fill it on comlinks, but he sends it to you on PDDs. If you don't have PDDs, then he passes you a PDD to fill one out. It says, fill these out. We'll have you collected in our database. For now, unfortunately. And unfortunately, you're now part of an ongoing investigation just until this whole thing is resolved. Do not worry, you're not a suspect at this moment regarding what's happening. I mean, unfortunately, this is just a completely open case right now. I mean, we don't have you haven't given us any information really about who did this. You mentioned an explosion. We still don't know who caused the explosion. We don't know how many people were injured in said explosion. You said someone assaulted you. For all we know, this is a terrorist attack. I mean, so we have to treat, unfortunately, right now, we have to just treat everyone involved as potential suspects. So, however, we don't have enough on you right now to keep you in the ILAR system. So, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So we know Mr. Courtney here has close ties to ILAR. So we're not concerned with you never returning. So we're not really concerned with your involvement. You just disappearing at this point, if that makes any sense. So
I appreciate that. And this right here, I'm gonna slide over a card. This is my personal lawyer, Martha Etheridge. If we are not able to be contacted immediately for anything, please reach out to her, and she will definitely get the message to me. We are here to cooperate in any way that we can.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, guys. And he gets up and leaves. So. All right. Do you guys disclose anything else on the forums? Basically, it's basically an investigation report, basically.
No, I just leave it fairly bland. Working on contract for Astra Unum.
And you, by the way, each have your own separate investigation forms. So you're each separate report, if that makes any sense. So that's only viewable by you and the investigator. So
yeah, I mean, basically, it's under contract, made a delivery, spent most of the time in the shit. Things happened. They appeared to be terrorists attacking or whatever, and then a biological contagion.
Got it.
Yep, I'm going to say everything that I said. I'm going to leave off the biological contagion because that is not my expertise. I'm going to speak towards what I know.
I mean, it's not mine either, but people don't grow spikes out of their head for normally.
Got it.
Big.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, so once you're done with the reports, then you can board your shuttle again and get off the ship. So.
Should we offer to help them clear it?
They don't allow it. They don't allow it. It's now ILR. It's now ILR defense. Jurisdiction. So.
Next question, as we are heading back to the ship, is what are we going to do with our rescued Astra Unum personnel?
Well, you're out of character. I mean, just to remind you guys, you are heading to Nakoro Prime to meet Anthony Wright. I mean, you can just return them there.
Okay.
So that's just the GM reminding you. I mean,
yeah, that's fine. They can stow away for a little bit longer.
And by the way, we'll do a scene jump to Nakoro Prime whenever you guys are ready to do that, because the other players from the other group have already done. The other players from last night have already done that. So, in the last game. So.
This is completely not to do with anything that we're talking about right now. Did Aston ever get information from who the hell was it? I need to figure out this guy's name. Basically the leader of the station when we rescued Levi's not daughter, trying to figure out information on who started that attack, who blew up our ship.
Who blew up your ship?
Yeah, can remember they came when we were on. I'm trying to look at my notes to see where we were at.
Well, the person who attacked your ship was Dracotech. But you were asked. Well, right. I think you asked him who leaked something.
Yes. Yeah. It was all about who got the information there, because when they blew up our ship, it wasn't like they just blew up a ship. They blew up our ship. Like, they targeted us. So I asked the commander there to try to get information as to who leaked the information, because we only talked to Charlie Fontaine, the security guard for Dracotech, and then the one guy that was in the prison that I can't think of his damn name right now. But I have it on here.
Okay. Yeah. None of his men did it. None of his men did it.
So we still don't know who did it, though?
None of his men did it. He's confident that none of his men did it.
Right, but the commander of that planet, of the rebellion force, they were supposed to look in to try to figure out information of who leaked the information. And I was just curious if that information has gotten back to Aston or not yet.
Yeah. So okay. So he reached back to you, and he said he scrubbed and dug for information amongst all his team, and he's confident that the leak didn't come from him or his team.
Okay. So
he said rebellion. If you communicated with anyone else, then that might be your leak.
Okay, so either Anton Sheldon or Charlie Fontaine are the only 2 people that we contacted. Okay.
You remember both those characters, right? You remember both of them?
Yeah, so Charlie Fontaine was supposedly a friendly who worked with Levi. Anton Sheldon was someone who worked with Carlton Green and Alice Hanover. So I'm leaning towards it was probably Charlie that fucked us over and not Anton, because if Anton worked with the 2 that were closest to us, they have a lesser chance of doing it. But so what I would like to do while we're making this travel in any capacity would be to offer money to investigate if Charlie Fontaine was the one who leaked the information, if I can go through any sort of rogue channels to try to get more information that way.
So you want to hire illegal help, basically?
Yeah, well, illegal's a strong term. I just want to. I want to.
Oh, you want to hire a PI, basically? A PI, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to hire whoever's going to help. I'm not going to ask for credentials, but you know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. This isn't going to be cheap because you're hiring a PI across interstellar lines, essentially.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Make a wealth roll, D8. A minus. I don't know why I said D8. Duh. -2 wealth roll.
All right. Well, Benny, real quick, just to make sure. Guess we're sticking with a 2.
Okay. All right. That's a fail.
Yep.
Okay. So right now, it's out of your price range right now.
Don't we have banked too?
You have a savings. Okay, so if you want to wait on that, we can resolve some story stuff before you get to that, if you want to. But you failed right now.
Yeah.
But you do have savings, I think, right now. If you look at your sheet in the inventory page, I think you do. Well, you spent all yours on something.
I've never spent the savings. I just probably didn't write it down. Unless you wrote it down, and then I don't know.
Well, we have a savings part on our currency. If you look and see where it's at.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, mine is zip.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. I'll take the failure for now, and then I'll just have to. I'll have to try again.
But anyways, we'll get to that in just a second.
No
okay, so
but that's what I'll be doing when we're making this trip.
Yep. Okay, so also Aston, I'll write it for you actually. Cargo. I wrote it for you. Cargo 2. I put on your sheet. Everybody shares cargo. So whenever someone uses cargo, it goes away for everybody. But everybody has that right now. So everybody has the same amount of cargo. Savings though is independent. That's for you individually. Okay, so real quickly, let's. So right now at this point, Aston, you can't afford to hire a PI to help you out. But now, salvage. We want to resolve that while we're here, right?
Yeah, that would.
What kind of stuff were you guys looking to salvage? Oh, we lost cams on someone.
Matt, no.
I mean,
Matt, where'd you go, buddy?
Yeah.
Subsystem.
Yeah, he just sent a message in Discord, said he'll be back in a second.
Oh, okay.
I think his computer died.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't change.
Or
I'll move
locked up or
all the
something.
cameras will be messed up for a minute, everybody. Sorry.
I mean, as far as the salvage goes, because we took it intact because they surrendered. So, I mean, any useful or extremely valuable subsystems, weapons, whatever makes the most sense to fit into our cargo hold. Or that would be.
Oh gosh, that was so many
able to
sessions
upgrade
ago.
ship.
I'm trying to remember what we fought and what weapons they had. Let's see. There was. GM can't remember what the bad guys were driving. Okay, so the bad guys were driving. Okay, so the bad guys were driving a cargo transport and a pirate light craft. Does that sound familiar? 2 vehicles, right? Wasn't it?
Yes, it was 2.
Yep. And it looks like you guys can salvage a pair of strafing lasers. Okay, so a pair of strafing lasers. Or a pair of autocannons and a missile launcher tube.
So it's either or?
Well, that's what the total weapons are
Okay.
amongst them. Make sure there wasn't... Oh, no, I'm sorry. And a pair of autocannons was their total weapons amongst them. Yeah, that's the total weapons amongst them. So, I don't remember specifically saying that you damaged their weapon systems. So, and their vehicles were just wrecked. They weren't completely obliterated. So yeah, that's what's available.
I know one of them, we took effectively intact, and I know the assault light craft kept losing out on its rolls, so it was constantly just tumbling.
Yeah, it just had autocannons and a missile launcher tube. So,
could I do a repair roll, since I was, a little shipbreaker background, to know what are the most valuable or kind of resellable components to yank out to use that for like savings or?
Here's the thing, though, right? They're large. They're large items, right? I mean, they're big.
Okay.
And you guys have a smaller cargo bay, right? So, I mean, you could pack in your cargo bay, right? Just fill it up. But, I mean, you won't be able to pretty much do much after you do that. But you could just pack it in, right? Let me see. Let me look at some stuff as far as if I can find some stats on cargo bay and kind of stuff and compare some things. So let's see. Griffin Explorer. Does it say anything about? Yeah, I'll say that you can fit all those weapons in the cargo bay, but I'll say it's packed full once you do that.
Okay.
And I'll just convert each one of those weapons into a +1 bonus to cargo. Actually, we'll say +2 cargo.
Well,
because they're very expensive. I mean, pretty much.
Well, I mean, before we do that,
I'll go through them all and make sure. But yeah.
Do we want to incorporate any of those weapons onto the ship?
Yeah. Yeah, decide which ones
like
you want to keep.
Which
ones you want to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones you want to...
Whatever. Sure. Weapon stats and all of it, but I seem to remember the lasers seemed a little bit more powerful than what we had.
Strafing lasers. Can you guys bring up the items tab on the right-hand side?
Yes, at least I can.
Can you see the Claim the Stars items group?
No, but going through my library.
You can bring up the library and go to Claim the Stars and go to Ship Weapons that way.
Yeah,
go to Starship Weapons.
Looking for.
Yeah. And you can see what's called turret weapons. There's strafing lasers, slug cannons, and then alpha missile, and yeah. Matt, you there?
Okay.
I'm here.
Your video's still off.
My camera seems to be having it. Every time I turn it on, I lose connection or something.
That's weird.
I'm gonna try it in a moment.
Okay.
Again.
Well, that's something we can talk about among ourselves for a little bit too, and not have to slow everything up unless we
If you want to just take a notes tab, take a note, write down a note.
Yes, I started one.
Yeah, just write strafing lasers ×2, auto cannons ×2, and missile launchers ×2.
Oh, 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got all that written down.
Thank you, Zalthera Bex, for redeeming that raise. Appreciate it so much. So I'll help you guys out. Give y'all some raises to work with. You guys, however, this is going to take you some time to gut that, guys. So, okay. So y'all spend like a day or something here.
Yeah, I mean, before
doing that.
moving off to the other one, I'm okay with that.
Slicing them. Cool. All right, cool. All right, sweet. So y'all got some weapons, pack in the entire cargo bay, and you jet off towards... we resolved that when you guys weren't here, where the party was going to go next to Nakoro Prime. It just made sense because that was the original mission to deliver Adira there. So why don't we just skip ahead to Nakoro Prime? Unless you guys want to run an interlude, actually. Is there any kind of like interlude ideas that you guys have in mind? We haven't ran one in a while. Do you guys have any ideas for a cool interlude or anything?
Nothing that's really coming up with me. Sorry, brain's still a little tired and fuzzy with all the crap. That being said, while I'm thinking about it, since we did resolving a good chunk of the story arc, at some point, I know there is a Vicanian commander that is very unhappy with Clint.
Is there now?
Because when he kind of led that rebellion and escaped, he got embarrassed, almost set his career back years, if not decades.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you about that. Remind me, was it a Vicanian commander or was it a employee at that company? Couldn't remember.
Well, it was somebody, because it was all like state-run industry in the Vicanians. So it was like a department head, and his career was set back. So that was the whole major or I think was minor enemy. Yeah, it's a minor enemy.
Yeah, it's a minor enemy, right? Yeah, cool. All right, sweet. Yeah, I was actually going to talk to you about that. I wanted to have something fun happen in Nakoro Prime related to your background and that. And so I was leaning towards like that group being kind of like how okay, so without getting too political, but like a lot of like how Vicania kind of does things, right? Is they're kind of modeled after like that. They're kind of modeled after like a Soviet type model, right? Where they kind of like would come in and they would take over the state, would kind of take over like industries completely. And I mean, I can't not get somewhat political when I'm talking about some of these people because they're based off of real life organizations and real life like governmental entities and that kind of stuff. So I mean, when you're making a real world setting and based off of history, you kind of can't. Yeah, I finally got the cameras fixed, and then Matt came back. But like, it will be like a company that's like state ran, kind of like the East India Company, right? Does that make sense?
Okay.
I mean, it's basically like it's basically like the state, but it wouldn't. Does that make sense? Kind of like how the CCP does things, and like China does things, right? They'll pretty much just embed themselves in the corporations, pretty much, and then they basically just forced to do their bidding. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd basically be like a company, but they're basically just forced to do the will of Icania. So the person that might be kind of like your enemy with might be both a commander and maybe like a figurehead of a company at the same time. Right, kind of like how like people in the East India Company were. They were both a captain or like a commodore or something like that, but also be like a major shareholder of the East India Company, right? Does that make sense? That kind of thing. So, okay, cool. All right, so that's what I was kind of aiming for. If that makes any sense. So, all right, cool.
Now, as far as like an actual interlude, I'd love to see like a kind of like a dream sequence where Spencer talks to himself about how he's now a mass murderer.
Like that little sociopath is bothered by it.
Nothing, Spencer? Nothing, Shaun?
Hmm?
Oh, he
No,
didn't even hear. He didn't.
I barely heard that because it was actually just breaking up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
For some reason, that was like the only time that my mic or my headphones decided to cut out.
You got called a sociopath.
So whatever you guys said.
I don't know which one is the
Me?
sociopath.
Oh, well, you know.
Spencer.
No, I mean, I am trying to do the right thing by saving the children. I don't know what you guys have with that.
No,
You know, sometimes people die.
why
Sometimes they die.
don't we do one interlude actually? Why don't we? I'll force it on you guys. Let's do one interlude, one of you. I'm gonna put it on one of the. I'm gonna put it on one of the players from last session. Let's get them in here. Actually, one of the players that was in here last session because they've been kind of sitting here waiting for you guys. So we'll get them in here. So let's do an interlude here real quick. So, I'm gonna do it randomly if you guys don't volunteer.
Randomly.
Randomly.
Well,
See,
you can
yeah,
ask
see little B.
well, no, let's ask the chat. Who do they want to hear an interlude story from?
Interesting.
Going once. Going twice.
Mm,
Yeah, I tried.
I got
Nobody
time to
can
wait.
chat.
I got time to wait.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
3. Damn, I still got the cameras all messed up. Cameras are all messed up. Put them all in the wrong boxes, man. Eventually I'll get them right. Matt playing a Spencer.
I was
See?
going to play an angsty teenager.
Yeah. How would you play Spencer? That's a good question. How would you play Spencer? All right. Interludes. All right. No one told me either. Not even players told me. I got it all mixed up. All right. So we got 3. Spencer, you're going to get to play an interlude here.
Nice.
All right. So let's draw an action card. We got a spade. All right. You get to choose downtime, backstory, or trek. Actually, this is downtime. Yeah, so you can choose downtime, backstory, or trek. So which one do you want to do? Look up the section on interludes right here. Link in the chat.
Trek story and obstacle challenge the party encountered on their trip. You do downtime because I feel like we'd have a lot of that right now.
Okay. All right. So what does that look like for you then? While you're in downtime, like alone
for Spencer,
for yourself.
Yeah, especially right now because his psychic abilities have been growing substantially over the since we started this adventure. He sits in his room a lot and is really just practicing. At first, it was just the minor stuff, like with the telekinesis. So he's just trying to lift small objects. But it's quickly expanded beyond that to where he's been trying to heal wounds that he picked up when he was hanging out with the God, I can't remember their names, but the aliens.
Yep.
Where he ended up being treated by them, and he got like massive burns all over his body. It's a very primitive medicine. And because he was so self-conscious about his appearance, what he didn't tell the crew was he would sit in his room for hours on end, and everybody just sort of left him alone, you know, doing teenager stuff, being upset, watching movies, just hiding, being angsty. But he was actually in his room trying to heal his wounds. And while he didn't quite manage, he did eventually figure out how to heal. So he's sort of been exploring his abilities and teaching himself sort of new tricks. And that's sort of why everybody's sort of seeing him pop up with these new abilities every now and then. It's not accident. It's not adrenaline. It's some of it's adrenaline, but it's because Spencer's putting a lot more time and effort into this than he's willing to admit. Part of it is he wants people to think he's more powerful than he is, and it just comes naturally to him. But it's because he's spending a lot of time trying to figure out what he can do, how to control it, and just, you know, trying to make sense of it, I guess, would really be the answer there. So
I like it.
yeah.
What I'm hearing though is now you have the healing power, so does Aston, and Arthur has the healing skill.
I did take it. I know it's redundant, but it's one of those things where
Frankly, he had been doing
if you
a lot
don't
worse
have
as a
it,
teenager locked in his
yeah,
room.
yeah. If you don't have healing, you're gonna know.
So I can just try to kill you guys harder now, right?
Well, it's also how it works in Savage Worlds. It's not in D&D where it's like, well, just roll again or just cast it again and you're fine. You know, here it's
Right.
like you got one shot, you screw it up, like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
So.
But anyways,
So
yeah, but I like it. So, very cool, very cool. I like that. I like that image. Sweet. Okay. All right. Sweet. I actually want to throw in a little something too. Actually, Aston's way, because we haven't talked about XCon in a while. So at one point when you return and you're kind of, we'll say it's early actually, maybe while Cliff is salvaging, right? Sorry, not Cliff. While Clint is salvaging, right? And you return to kind of take off your, dress to the nines, right? And get back in your normal attire. And you just go to wash your face, maybe, and to take off your disrobe and get back in your normal clothes. You go to wash your face. And like you just find yourself at times now, and this is one of those moments, you look in the mirror and you don't see yourself looking at you, like looking back at you. You see XCon looking back at you. And it occasionally, when this would happen before, it would just be like for a flicker or a moment. But like more and more now, it seems like these moments linger.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll just stay.
Yeah. And it's to the point that I don't know if I'm the host to XCon or XCon's the host to me. Who's the real who at this point?
Maybe that's how you take it. It's up to you.
For
I mean,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
because this is already an idea that I've had with it, and I've already had the mental imagery of like when no one's around or when I think no one's around, like talking to myself in the mirror, and just just you fucking remember who's in charge here. It's not you. You're stowaway. You hijacked this body, but this is still me.
I'm just curious, are there ever any tracks of time that Aston loses?
Not really. So for the most part, the only time that I've experienced anything like that is when if I do anything to cause harm, like if I consciously do something to cause harm to somebody, like act out maliciously, there's an inner struggle that I have to fight through that sometimes I lose. Whereas XCon will not allow me to do it. I never lose consciousness or anything really, but I can feel myself taking a backseat. My will and my actions are not my own at that point. But I'm fully conscious through the whole thing. I'm watching it play out almost from like a third person point of view. But yeah, so anything to do with harming someone else, or any malicious action really, XCon tries to take over.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just curious if you lose 10 minutes at a time or something like that with XCon, just kind of like riding you or anything like that, or taking you over. Okay, on the ship.
Fully
okay.
there, but I don't have control at times. It's like sleep paralysis.
Got you. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we'll jump to Nakoru Prime. So the other players, like I said, have already kind of gone through a little bit of this. We won't go through everything, obviously, because they had their own scenes. I actually intentionally separated the two of the groups, if you will, because they had different stories and different scenes than you guys had, and it was, I thought it was a good idea to do that since we were running a different game essentially. So
okay.
And so this is the planetary system that you arrive in. So Nakoru Prime. So Nakoru Prime is interesting. Nakoru Prime is an odd little system. So Nakoru Prime is it's an Earth-like. It has an atmosphere. It's an odd duck. It's smaller than Earth, which means it has less gravity, and which means that humans will behave differently on it. But you're not going to land on the planet just yet. Shaun, Matt, I'm going to let you guys fill them in on some of the mission details, if you guys can remember it. I'm going to briefly kind of fill them in on some of it. But I'm going to kind of leave you guys in to fill in some of the details. Okay? I'll pick up some of the slack if I have to. But just because I want to keep things more entertaining, Anthony's going to give them a different briefing. Does that make sense? So, okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So, but anyways, so you guys all arrive on the Griffin Explorer. You guys all arrive to the Astra Unum's new flagship vessel called the Astra Oma. Astra Oma. It's named after an individual, a very important individual to Anthony Wright, and but you arrive there, and they flag you in, and you land. And Spencer and Arthur had their own separate meeting with him. And we're going to jump to a scene with Clint and Aston, where they had the opportunity to speak with Anthony themselves. And you're at a different location. You're not at his. Like his office suite or whatever. You're at like a conference room, something like that. And there's like drinks at the table. And there's like a food tray and stuff in the middle with some like fruits and stuff in it, and some like pastries and that kind of stuff. And an assistant comes in and asks to give you like whatever you'd like to drink. He says, "Can I bring you anything else? Anything you desire? It's yours."
Whiskey
Of course,
on the rocks.
certainly. You, Mr. Burl?
Something local and ridiculously exotic that maybe I haven't had before. I don't know. What would you recommend? Whatever. I'll try it.
Sake? I don't know if I'd call it exotic, but the Saisonese seem to love it.
Sure. Let's pretend I spent most of my life on a small ship breaking station and haven't had a chance to experience much.
You probably haven't experienced sake actually, probably in this setting. So the Saisonese have been cut off from everybody pretty much forever. You probably haven't had real sake before ever. So yeah, and so they return with their drinks, and Anthony Wright comes in. Anthony Wright is this thin but strong-shouldered man, he's kind of carries himself well, stands up straight. He's got this gray beard, kind of a thin beard, and gray hair, and kind of comes in. I mean, you imagine he's probably in his early 60s. And he's got a suit on. Dressed the part for essentially the president of a mega corporation that has extraterritorial status, you know. So he comes in and says, "It's wonderful to see you again, Aston. How are you?"
Well, all things considered, I think I'm doing good, thank you. And how are you?
I could be better. I'm still, unfortunately, mourning Mr. Roosevelt's passing. He was a dear friend of mine. I'm sure you're still missing him as well.
Yeah, Levi is good people.
I don't think I've had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Burl here. And then he reaches his hand out to you.
Clint will go ahead and shake it.
He says, my name is Anthony Wright. As you can see, I'm kind of the one that runs the show here." And then he kind of smiles and kind of laughs just a little bit, and he says, "But please have a seat and get comfortable." And the assistant comes in with your drinks, and he says, "I want to thank you all, both of you, for handling all that business with Ladira and And then he kind of waits before he talks until the assistant leaves, and he says, "Well, that terrible business with the science vessel, it was quite dreadful what occurred." And he reaches across the middle of the table and presses a button on the desk. Make a notice roll. Both of you. If whoever wants to. Yeah, both of you see the cameras in the corner of the room. The light go off. Cameras in the corner of the room. He says that was an unfortunate that was an unfortunate event. That what transpired, I'll carry with me to the grave.
Yeah, I feel I should apologize on our behalf. That I feel a lot of these circumstances never would have happened had we not asked for the assistance with Spencer's friend.
I've learned with the kind of work that I do and the kind of deals that I have to make on a, well, practically regular basis that you just try to make the wisest decisions you can make. And, well, even though I will take it with me to my grave, if you let all of them haunt you and keep you up at night, you'll never sleep.
No, what haunts me and keeps me up at night is pondering the third party. Because we know that there was the artifact, the alien, that was a piece of the puzzle. But I was also attacked by someone in an Astra Unum outfit. So there was a third party at work there.
Yes, I've just got done speaking to Arthur about that. So, yes, well, we have the name, and since Arthur was able to glean that it's a Next Star agent, I think it's going to be easy to narrow it down after the fact. So I think that Arthur has pretty much I think all I had to do was push Arthur in the direction of following that lead. I just had to give him a nudge. I didn't even have to push him, in fact. He wants to see justice done for what happened to his sister. And
that's a word.
I'm sorry?
Justice, that's a word.
Well, what would you call it?
Oh.
I mean, they tried to kidnap her.
I want vengeance.
Well, call it what you will, but I'm convinced it was corporate espionage. So, and Arthur tends to agree. So, I have one matter I would like you guys to help me with while we're here in the system. After that, I think it'd be best if you guys just broke away and took care of that. But this matter right here, I'd like for you to get your help with is really time sensitive. You can talk to Arthur about it. They can give you all the details. Unfortunately, no one with Astra Unum or Wright Industries can take care of it due to corporate legality, because Wright Industries or Astra Unum can't step foot on the Koru Prime. So we're trying to deal with that as we speak. It's because of our relations with Sazanese space. We literally can't land on any kind of celestial body in Sazanese space. So
I understand.
And I've offered citizenship to Spencer and Arthur, and they've agreed to take it, but it won't be set in stone until this job is done. So, however, I know you're an ILR citizen, and of course, I'm sure you want to keep that. And of course, you have your loyalty to your family and your family's business. So I wouldn't even dare to offer you citizenship. So you have your own loyalties. But I also want to offer you here too, of course, a payment for the job that you guys just did. Well, the payment is actually more just a thank you for the whole mess that transpired. So out of character, first off, you receive, if you have a D8 or lower wealth, you'll get a wealth increase.
Okay.
And he says, and on top of that, this is for each of you. and he basically just kind of slides you from his PDD like thousands of shares in Wright Industries. So now each of you gain a savings of 3.
So, Mr. Wright, instead of the credits, could I maybe ask you if you'd be able to use some of your resources to gather some information for me as a payment?
Why don't we just discuss the information? Who knows? I might owe you a favor already.
Well, I think that you'll have a slightly vested interest in here, as I'm looking to figure out who leaked the information that ultimately led towards getting Levi killed. Someone from Dracotech leaked information of our whereabouts, and that's how they knew where we were, and that's how they were able to strike us before we even knew they were coming. I have 2 names of people that we spoke with. They're the only 2 people that it could possibly be. I have an inkling that it's one of the security guards at Dracotech.
All right. Okay. Well, then I'm definitely interested in helping you with this investigation.
So that'll be payment enough. I will take the shares. I appreciate that. The credits, put those towards
No.
whatever you need to
Keep
do
your
to get
credits.
this information.
This is free.
Thank you. And then I'll give them the information.
Yep.
And then, as soon as you find out, let me know. And
How much do
after
you want
this
to be
job-
involved?
How much do I want to be involved?
Yes.
I want to pull the trigger. How about
Okay.
you don't be involved beyond getting the information? That way you have plausible deniability. And then you get me a name, and that's just know that it will be taken care of.
Okay. He shakes your hand firmly. Arthur will provide the details about the job I have for you guys on Nakora Prime.
And then in Sazanese, I'll take my glass and I'll say a traditional cheer, something along the lines of, live long, love hard, and prosper greatly, in Sazanese.
Mm.
And I'll kind of raise the glass, and then I'll finish it and set it down on the table.
Do you speak it eloquently? Like, is
I
it
do.
good, clean? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
He says, I'm impressed. Maybe you should do our diplomacy on the planet.
If you need me, let me know.
And excuse me, sir, if I may also ask a boon. We took a
course.
prisoner after the science vessel mishap. He has a bounty on him that we're going to be redeeming, but in return for his surrender and giving us as much information as on the person that hired him, which is, I believe, the one that Arthur and you are pursuing. I did tell him that I would do my best to make sure that when we redeem his bounty, that I would do my best to make sure that he lives. I'm not going to have much pull, but would your company have enough ties that might ensure that instead of getting the death penalty, that he gets life imprisonment? He's a vile piece of work, but he did give us information, and I told him I'd try.
I'll see what I can do. He says, "Send me the bounty information."
Okay. Just whip out his PDD right there, and
Sounds dirty when you say it that way.
Damn it,
All
Ethan,
right.
put that thing away.
All right. He says, "All right." So then I guess, so we'll just say that you guys enjoy your drinks together and y'all have small talk the rest of the time, and then you guys part ways. So, and then, all right. So you guys return to your ship together, and cue a conversation between you guys about the job. So, Arthur, Spencer, you guys can fill in Aston with some role-playing conversation about the job.
I mean, Aston's gonna. There's no niceties to it. As soon as he walks in, okay. What do we need to know? What are we doing?
Well, there's a scientist. His name is Philip Lillard. He went AWOL after apparently catching a glimpse of something from an alien artifact tablet. He went crazy and fled. He was last seen on the domed city on Nokuru Prime, Nuatami. It's the city. And he's psychically capable. He does confusion, invisibility, and shapeshifting.
Yeah.
Anything else you remember, Spencer?
Confusion. What?
That pretty much covers it.
Confusion, invisibility, shapeshifting.
For shape change.
Yeah.
It's the same
Let me
thing in
see.
Savage Worlds.
Yeah, because I think I wrote down shape shifting too, but I just realized it was the power.
Yeah, the
of
power in
shape-change.
Savage Worlds is called shape change, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
notes. I see.
Yeah,
what are we doing? Are we trying to bring him back? Are we trying to?
We're gonna try to bring him back alive, but if we can't, we were told we should just kill him.
I think his specific words were, "We can't afford to lose him again."
hmm Yeah.
Again? So this has happened before?
Well, I mean, he went AWOL. That's what they mean.
He
Okay.
fled.
Yeah.
So this is they lost. Okay, understood.
Also, I guess none of you made the note about his religious ID and stuff like that. Due to religious reasons.
ID?
Yeah, the fact that he didn't get an embed chip.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the reason why he's gotten
Remember
around
that.
so easily, and that's the reason why he's gotten around so easily, is because he does not have an embed chip for religious reasons.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Riot Industries and Astra Unum does not give you an embed chip if you don't request one because of religious reasons.
Okay. Shit. Yeah, so it's going to be harder to track him.
Not for a strapping, capable psychic like yourself.
Yeah, well, I got to be honest. Like confusion, I think we kind of have some ideas of what that may do, but I'm like, I got to be honest, guys. Like shape shifting, invisibility. I don't have a lot of experience with that,
What are the extent?
and I've never seen the invisibility power in action. Or have I? I don't know.
You wouldn't know if you did.
You have.
Yeah, maybe
You
I
have?
have. I have seen it.
You have. All of you have.
You would have.
Except for Clint.
No.
You don't remember which planet it was on? The near human tribes on Sigori 379C.
Okay.
The shaman.
Yeah, the shaman or whatnot just appeared or something like that.
Oh, was he using it?
Apparently, we
Why
never
don't I
put two and two
remember that?
together with that, so we don't know if we've seen
Yeah.
shit.
Well, I guess Spencer's gonna have to walk around with his little Spidey telepathic thing always open. Start hearing
So-
thoughts and nobody there you know.
Did Anthony
Just
say
do
anything about what his
profe-
shape-shifting capabilities are? Can he make himself look like someone else? Can he make himself look like an object? Can he make others look differently? Like, what are his limitations or capabilities?
I don't remember. He did say something, but I did not.
Yeah,
write
so
it
in
down
the
beyond
file, do you want to, I guess, consult the file and see what he tends to shapeshift into? I'm curious, actually, yeah, if that would be in there. I think maybe that would be something you'd have to look up in the Astra Unum database. Probably, I guess. Probably wouldn't be in the file per se on your mission file. So, but you can do that digging on the Astra Unum.
That sounds like it
You
would
know.
be something important.
Well, it'd probably be something. It'd be. Does that make sense? Like you'd have to just. It'd be something you could easily find, but it'd just be something you'd have to just research.
It's fine. Aston is a computer genius.
Okay, well, according to this power, if this is in his file, this power allows the caster to take the form of any animal, anything that exists in the setting that's an animal, but not humanoids, undead, etc. So it has to be animal-like or some kind of monster, and it doesn't confer like additional psychic abilities or magical abilities or anything like that. It's just the physical, like claws or something like that.
I mean, you guys have access to the Astra Unum and
But say, can one
right
of you
into the
smart
series
computer
research
types
database.
actually
Y'all want to do
pull
that?
this up?
Yeah, we could look at the research database if that would help.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yep.
I'd rather not go anecdotal.
So
on this.
do the research skill. Make a research roll.
That'd probably be an Arthur thing, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got the highest.
Wow.
Just
Yeah,
look
so
at it.
you managed to find logs of his his psionics testing from when he hired on.
Okay.
It was basically his medical profile that they basically got passed on from his youth psionics testing and his psionic academics testing, and and basically you just see all they have is video transcription of him transforming into, when he was like 8 years old, transforming into a dog. And then they have him when he's 15 transforming into a wolf. And then
Okay.
when he becomes like college age or whatever, and he's in advanced psychics course, he transforms into a bear.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Great. So now that he's older, what's going to be a Tyrannosaurus? He's progressively getting more and more ferocious with it. So he's akin to ferocious four-legged mammals. Okay. It's not really helpful in itself, but I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, but if saber-toothed tiger starts gnawing on your head, you have a pretty good idea who it is.
Yeah, that'll be the first thought that I have. So, does it have any detailed information on his confusion abilities? Does he have any sort of MO of how he would use it? Would he use it to try to get his way? Would he use it just to basically disorient?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't used it very much. There's just like his original testing when he was a child. I mean, it was only been used a couple times, pretty much just during his sonics testing. It was basically just he just basically used it to pretty much just a wave of psychic energy to and they tracked the theta levels and in the room and that kind of stuff, and it was consistent with mind altering effects. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean they wouldn't put subjects in the room to test it on them, if that makes any sense, because that wouldn't be ethical. So
Ethics goes get in the way of science again.
For sure. Okay.
Arthur, can we figure out what he likes to eat, where he likes to eat at, where his patterns are? What are we doing here?
I need a pattern of life on him.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So it's going to be like this whole episode will be basically like, how are you guys going to figure out and investigate? Because what they said is basically they have a person on the ground that wasn't an Astra Unum employee who sent word to them saying, "Hey, we spotted your guy down here." This was like a couple weeks ago or whatever. And then they didn't know what to do about it because they couldn't put someone on the ground. And then you guys showed up. So, and they don't know how to track him, right? Because he doesn't have a chip. So, I mean, how would you in the sci-fi space world, how would you track a person? How would you find a person, right? So,
I mean, I said that half jokingly, but really, like, do we have any patterns for him? What he likes to eat, what he does? Is there like every Thursday he went to bingo? Like, what is if he has patterns that we can ascertain?
Sure.
This is something we could use.
Okay, sure. Let's just use his research roll that Arthur already rolled because he's got 17, right?
Yep.
So,
Well, I'd also like to expand on that though, because you said he's religious. Religious places that are going to be important for him. Like
okay,
you see
he's
from
Catholic.
this world, close friends, family in the area that we can interrogate.
No family on a core prime.
Okay.
He picked this world. He picked this world because it's Sazanese, and he knew they couldn't step foot there.
So is he really religious, or is that just a faux pas?
No, he's actually pretty hardcore Catholic.
Okay.
Which narrows it down a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if he's hardcore Catholic,
religious
then
science.
We need to ID all the Catholic churches. He's going to want communion every week. Also, he may not have a chip, but there's a chance that he may be walking around with some kind of communication device that we can track or hack into.
Right, and
I
mean,
Might be able to.
money's all digital, right?
Well,
So, I mean,
not all, but most of it
have
is
to eat.
exchanged digitally. And you
So I mean, so
and you find that he has a since he got an amazing research roll, 17. Well, just lost the stream. Hopefully it comes back soon.
Did we lose?
The stream.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like it's back.
Oh, it's back. Okay. So like you see that he has a dear friend that was on his science team on the last project he was on that he's maintained contact with, and she's apparently on this ship, the Astra Unum.
oh, okay. So we have a pseudo lead here.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll say her name is Melissa Carter. Yeah, Catholicism broke everything. The Pope didn't like it.
I'll be back in 1 sec.
All right. Okay, so you've got some leads now. You know that he's Catholic, on a Japanese, Saizanese, sorry, Saizanese, but it's really Japanese, kind of inspired world. But it's Japanese in the 28th century, and he's Catholic on a Japanese world, essentially, which narrows it down a lot. And then he's got a former research team partner that he's still close contact with on the Astra Unum that you could speak to get information from, which could definitely help you out. Yeah.
Okay.
If I can go through a whole session of not speaking the Lord's name in vain, we'll be good.
All right.
God damn it.
Clint! I'm just playing. I didn't finish it.
It's hard.
All right. So
Well, if there's somebody here to talk to, how about
Yeah.
me and Aston go talk to them?
All right, cool.
Or I may
good
all
idea.
of
We
us,
should have Spencer go
depending on how
talk to
many
him.
people we should.
Spencer, yes.
I mean, he's a good one to follow along because he can read minds and stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, I'm much better when I'm kind of in the background assisting. So
All right, so you go track her down. She's in the labs section, and if you find her, she's hunched over a microscope, and she's probably in her late 50s, and she's busy at work, and she doesn't even realize you approached at the moment.
Wait a second to see if she breaks free from the microscope before saying anything, and if she just takes too long, then I'm like, excuse me, Miss Carter?
She looks up. Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm well, thank you. I apologize for bothering you at work.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I've had my head buried in work all day.
Well, if you don't mind taking a short 2 or 3 minute break here, I could really use your assistance.
Of course.
Well, I don't want to waste any of your time with this, so I'm just going to cut straight to it. We have been hired to look for your friend, Philip Lillard. We were told that there are some things that happened that could put him in a potentially dangerous situation, and we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen. So I was just hoping that maybe you could answer a few questions so we can get him, located safely and just make sure that he's in good physical and mental state.
Are you being honest with me about this? I mean, I know he's been on the run for quite a while now, like 2 months. This is just about... Well, let's be honest. Are you just bringing him back?
Well, we definitely want to get him back if we can, but I mean, we're not going to force him to do anything against his will. The whole thing is just to make sure, with all the things that led up to where he is now, that he is of somber mind, that he's acting out in accordance to what he wants to do, not that he's being influenced by any outside sources. I don't know how much you know of what led up to it, but anyone in his situation, it would be completely understandable if they, frankly had a breakdown and were not thinking straight.
Make a persuasion roll.
I won't even bother to roll the second one. We'll keep the 14.
She says, well, I've definitely gotten some messages from him that were, well, let's just say, frankly, worrisome. I think he's... Well, I don't think he's quite there anymore, and I have been concerned for him. They tried to use the messages to try to figure out where he was, but it just didn't work, or at least he wasn't there anymore. I think he's using comm links and then trashing them, and then.
Well, that's completely understandable, and I can't say I would do anything different if I was in his shoes. I think that there's a certain degree of miscommunication going on here, that he is misinterpreting why they are looking out for him and why they're trying to get a hold of him. And really, it is with his best interest that we have this plan laid out to try to make contact with him. Outside of what he's told you in communications, I mean, is there anything that you can tell us about, maybe his routines? Is he, one thing to tell if he's still, of somber mind, is he still going to church?
Oh, I very much. I very much think that he probably is trying to, at least, if there is one down there. But I can tell you one thing though that might can help you. I mean, my God, he used to make us. Oh my God, he used to make us. I don't know. Surely that couldn't help you, but
anything could help. The smallest detail might be the one thing that is that aha moment.
Well, I mean, he used to make us eat this greasy, like, American style, like, diner food all the time, and like order it in to the labs and stuff all the time, like from the cafeteria and things. And then like we spent this short stint like planet side once, and we used to have to order it from a place. He just loves that kind of stuff, like burgers and steaks and that kind of stuff. And what now?
Do you recall the name of that place?
Well, it was a place called Lenny's, but he just loves that kind of food.
Well, between me, you, and the four walls, Talk is 6, they eat grubs, and a burger sounds delicious compared to that.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is that, I mean, on Nakoro Prime, maybe it's hard to find a joint like that.
Did you say that Lenny's was on Nakoro Prime, or was that the one that's here?
No, I've never been to Nakoro Prime. I'm just saying wherever we went, that's the kind of food he loved.
Oh, okay. Because you said when you went planet side, I wasn't sure if you meant here or not. That's my mistake.
No, we've never been. I've never been to this planet. No, we can't step foot on this planet.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like if Nakoro Prime's if New Atami's got a place like that,
All right. And if you wouldn't mind, if you can share with me some of the places that he messaged you from. I know you said that he's not there right now, but at least that might give us an idea of where to look, so we can, get your friend back here safely and, before he is able to hurt himself.
Well, I mean, all his family and stuff are on other worlds. I mean, I don't think I have any more leads for you. I mean, I can try to reach out to him again, but every time I try to reach out to him, I mean, I don't get anything back. Like I said, I think he uses burner devices.
I understand. Yeah, I think this is a good start that you gave us here, and it brings me a little bit of peace of mind that you think that he is at least trying to attend church, because that means that he still has his mental priorities, which is good. And it gives me good hope that we'll be able to find him and bring him back for you.
That makes me happy too.
So, I appreciate all the information. If there's anything else you could think of, this is my direct comm link. Anything at all. If you catch any sort of fragment of a memory that you have that you think might help, at any time, feel free to message me. And as soon as we can get a hold of him and get him back here, I'll make sure that I personally reach out to you and let you know he's safe.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll kind of back out a little bit, and sorry for bothering you at work again. I appreciate all your help.
No, I'm glad I spoke to you. I hope he's okay.
Me too. And I'll head back and share everything with the group. Like, okay, so we're looking for someone who's trying to attend some sort of Catholic services. The way that she made it sound, that's not a very common occurrence there. I don't know for a fact. And that he likes to eat shitty Americanized food, like burgers. So, did she give me the information of like where he was at previously that was like the false leads?
Like false leads? Oh,
He said that like he would call from some place and they would go that he wasn't there.
She did not. But I mean, you can request that.
Well, yeah,
like an email or something like that.
Yeah, I'll send her a message to try to get that information so I can at least have some sort of a starting point, and then that way we can kind of.
Sure. All right.
And did the three of you manage to dig up any additional information while I was gone?
I was going to look into if he had any kind of like electronic devices that we could possibly track him with. I know he may be too smart for that, but it's worth a shot. Maybe like a cell phone comm link kind of thing.
I got a question though. How would you find them?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, did he? Yeah, I guess if he didn't, he's obviously not going to take like his company phone or anything like that.
Yeah, he
like,
doesn't.
If he's just gone straight off.
There's no, any kind of comm link.
Burners.
Yeah, any kind of device he would have had those company devices, just not pinging back a result anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Because that's where I would come in. If there was something to hack, I think we'd have to get closer to him before we could do the psychic mind stuff. So.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Would Arthur be able to create a device to pick up psychic brainwaves from like a specific direction?
I could have swore you've created that before.
Probably.
Oh yeah, I've got one sitting in the lab.
I know I've damped them, but
kind of like a dish device, kind of like with earbuds, like an ear muff or something like that on it, where it like sends out a signal and it bounces back. Is that what you're kind of picturing? Or kind of like a directional microphone. You ever seen those kind of devices? They're like long range directional microphones, except it's looking for theta waves instead of. Is that kind of what you're imagining?
Or some device you'd see on a paranormal ghost hunter.
Yeah. I mean, that would be. That seems pretty game breaking.
Well, we don't have to. I was just wondering. Again, if Spencer can pick up on psychic frequencies.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me think about it. Let's see.
Last session, Arthur.
Tell you what, I'll allow you to do it, but it'll be short range. It'll be like I'll say short range, but it'll be, you know what I mean, like not short range as in like not like miles, but like, you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
So would it be like a support role for Spencer?
Well, no, I mean like it'll work like within. It'll be kind of like it'll be like a notice role for psychic powers, basically, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Except instead of notice, you'll make electronics roll.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. All right, but you still gotta build it.
Right.
Okay. So, all right. So let's look at MacGyver. Well, let's see. I think that would fall under. Because making something like that, like in a more long-term capacity that lasts forever, that's not crude, is like inventing a new device, right?
Right.
And would take R&D and possibly weeks of development. But like I think this is a good use of the MacGyver edge. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right.
It's fine with me.
All right. Cool. So roll MacGyver.
All right. And can I add the bonus from the science station as well?
Science station only gives a
gives me-
science bonus, right? Or is it repair bonus too?
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
This is
No,
repair.
it said
Right.
+2 to
Okay.
science. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just science. Yeah, not repair. Because you're gonna build something, so it's repair. Nice.
I guess it's too
Nice.
late, but
Disappointed in you, Arthur.
I
Nice.
was gonna say it might be too late, but I can also assist with repair rolls.
Oh.
In the future.
Got it.
All right, we'll say it's a it's like cone, and you get like so you like aim it, right? And so you're like sweeping with it, right, when you're searching for someone. And it says you got a raise, you get a +1 bonus on your electronics rolls to find someone.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, cool. And that applies to anyone who's using it. +1 bonus. And so you got it strapped with some kind of energy source, right? That it's MacGyvered with. So it's like you probably like equipped maybe like a battery, like an energy pack from like one of like a laser rifle or something like that to it. So, but since it's like a one-time use item, it's probably like not sufficiently designed for it. So it's going to probably just burn out eventually. That's the idea. All right. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, sweet. Okay, so you guys ready to land planet side? Or do you got other plans?
Well, if the research, would they be able to kind of locate the handful of places that both have the religious institutions and the greasy American type foods? I don't know.
In close proximity, like the church across the street from the burger joint. Like that's probably where he's at.
You figured out. You found. Yeah. So if you're just gonna get on essentially the.
Yelp.
Okay, so you guys can access the Seasonese information network. The Astra Unum vessels cannot. Okay, they cannot. So from your ship you can, because you're a contract vessel. They cannot. But from your ship, y'all want to log on and get onto the Seasonese network?
Do we have anything that's like
Sounds
Okay.
a VPN or some encrypted way of doing it, so that way it's not tracked back to us?
I mean, what you're doing is not illegal. You're just basically using Google Maps or Google, but it's on the Seasonese network.
Okay, that's fine. If that's the case, then yeah.
But you
we're gonna
can
start
use
looking
like something like that. But I mean, it's not. Let's be honest, VPNs aren't that great. But
Well, this
sure.
This is the 28th century, though. I mean, I'm hoping VPN has gotten a little bit better since then.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, commercial products are never that great. So that's
You're
why
fucking world chain. You can make VPNs good. You just gotta say yes.
That's the reason why hacking exists. So I'm not gonna invalidate the hacking skill. So all right.
But yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a good thing is to
Yeah.
find churches, find burger joints.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
you're onto something there. So.
Yeah. All right. So you guys find that there's one church, but it was closed down. In New Atami, there's one Catholic church. And it was Saint Agramia's. It was closed down 20 years ago because it was burned down. And then there's a burger joint, old school diner named the Slop Shop in New Atami. It's considered the best place in town.
I mean, with a name like that, it probably is pretty good.
And
Yeah.
are there like
And it's like an old school diner, like as far as look and appearance.
are there so what how do I want to say this? Like a religious Catholic group. So even though there's no church, is there still a community? I don't know.
Like they have
Yeah, they're
they still try to have Catholic meetings and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean they have their own Discord channel or something.
Yeah, there's basically like a meetup.com basically that meets in like the community center. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good idea actually. Sure. There's like a community center basically where they have like basically meetups on Sunday mornings, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
At like
And
9
there's
a.m.
probably
or
got to
whatever.
be a priest too.
Yeah.
So
There's a priest.
probably not gonna. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting something to eat. So, I mean, if we're here, might as well.
We can. I think we should talk to the priest too. I've never had religion.
Yeah, my dad tried, but you know, it didn't stick.
You're not missing out on anything.
I'm like, I know
with
Aston
burgers
doesn't
or-
have any. Yeah, I know Aston doesn't have any religion. So how about you, Arthur?
I mean, I'm aware of it. I don't know. I mostly keep my nose into the science stuff.
Yeah, man of science. Who'd have thought? Like, well, anyway, burgers. Because I've been eating a ton of that crap we've got on the ship for too long now.
You don't like the
And all I got when I was
space
meeting
scoop in a
with
tube?
Anthony Wright. A what?
The space scoop in the tube?
Yeah, God.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
toothpaste, isn't it?
Yeah, chicken flavored toothpaste or whatever.
It's made out of
Yeah.
bugs, remember?
Yeah, it's gross. And I'm like, I didn't have the good sense to like steal a bunch of food when I was meeting with Anthony Wright. Can you believe it? That guy gave me a Coke. So that was it. Meeting with a billionaire.
Any
all I got
hookers
was
to go
Coke.
with it?
No, I got a can of soda. That was it. Guy's worth billions. So anyway,
I mean,
Did you
hamburgers.
ask for something
you
else?
did like re-kill
I
his
did ask for
child
something. I asked for a
and
whiskey, and he
most
told
of
me
one of
I
his
was
science
underage.
vessels.
Wow. Billionaire with a lot to lose doesn't let minor drink. Weird concept.
Yeah, and a
you
president
think
of
you
his
could-
own a president of his own country essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently the laws in his country suck. So teenager can risk life doing, all sorts of crap. Can't have a drink.
Well, I mean, let's tip the scales here. You destroyed one of his ships.
I know, but that has nothing to do with
No?
crappy laws. No,
okay.
it doesn't.
But you didn't get a Coke. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me weigh that
Yeah,
out
look,
here.
No, I
Look,
got a
after this-
Coke. That was the problem.
How about this? After we settle this and we're on to our next destination, you just have Arthur take you to his lab and you learn how to make some bathtub gin as a science project.
It's fine. I can do that. Full well knowing I'm just going to steal Aston's. So, anyway.
I'm sorry. What?
What? No, I'm going to... Never mind. I know where you hide the good stuff. So...
Another thing to look at before we go down. I know the bounty on Ben Tolstev there has to be redeemed. The people that we turn them into.
We talked about that. We talked about that last game. There's no one here on this planet.
Okay.
For that. Yeah.
So no subsidiary. All right.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well,
Wasn't that where at, Matt?
Oh my God.
Wasn't that? If I remember correctly, there's no one there on this planet for that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Rescovia. You have to pay to have him. Oh, that's right. You guys were going to. I told you guys you could have him. You could have him
Like transported.
transported. Yeah, you could have him transported.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Was there some sort of clause in this that said he had to be returned alive?
It was dead or alive. I convinced him to come in with the caveat that I would try to keep him alive.
We wasted way too much time on.
You still have to have proof though of the bounty returned, though. I mean,
We have cameras. We just got to shoot twice. Once with the camera. All right. Well, we're not going to get any more information just sitting here with our thumbs
Yep.
in our asses. So I guess we
Yep.
can go planet side.
okay, so flying into New Atami. So I already said it's the other players though. New Atami's pretty neat. How in those see those green, like the bold green spots on the map. That actually isn't grass. So this whole planet is pretty much people live in dome cities because it isn't completely terraformed yet. So the air atmosphere isn't breathable. Okay. It's I mean you could walk around without a spacesuit, but you have to wear like a mask, right? If you don't want to if you don't want to be in a domed city, right? But those big spots on the map you see where like there's like bold green, that's actually terraforming powder, right? That goes into the soil. They're trying to do things like make grass grow, like prepare the soil for like basically chemically treating the soil, essentially. But yeah. Anyway, so the New Atami is like a series of domes to altogether make domed cities that are along that waterways there, and so yeah, that's New Atami, and but yeah, so like you see these domed cities or these domed structures that are massive, and when you fly up to the domes, it doesn't look like some kind of like fancy high tech like futuristic affair where like the dome just like energy like morphs and like comes open or whatever, because they've been terraforming this place for decades, or probably actually like 100 years now. You know, they've been trying at it. So the technology here is old on the domes, and so they just kind of like the dome just kind of slowly opens like a cargo door or something like that, and it groans. Well, if you could hear, and slowly opens up so you could come through, and so it's kind of like an airlock though. There's multiple layers, so there's waiting involved as you come through, and it takes time. So that way they can maintain atmosphere, right? And each ship has to.
Shit city.
Yeah, it definitely feels very very POS, I guess you could say, compared to something like where you've been before. You definitely feel a bit like you've been to nicer places at first glance. From out in space, it looks like a rusty, like dusty bowl, right? Except covered with green goo, right? But then once the airlock is done, this massive airlock, which you're packed into, by the way, with like probably 15, 20 other ships, right? Because you're brought in intervals. Once the airlock is done, you're blasted with brilliant lights and advertisements and neon glow as you see this brilliant cityscape, and you see this bustling like city. It looks like maybe Neo Tokyo from Akira or something like that, and all you see is buildings everywhere. You see flying cars zooming everywhere across the skyline. And you see advertisements everywhere in Saisonese popping up in all the different scripts. If you know anything about Japanese, there's 3 different scripts. So you see all different kinds of the languages everywhere. You see essentially like anime everywhere on all the different build these holographic billboards. I mean, this is essentially like you can imagine like an anime, like how you imagine like an anime is like a Neo Tokyo, basically, like cyberpunk Neo Tokyo. So, and except flying cars and stuff everywhere. So, and you guys are essentially zooming through this from the sky with these 20 other space transports all at the same time. Okay. So, and you guys are ushered in via orders with the what do you call it, traffic coordinators, and told to head to the space dock, and you're given your docking coordinates, and you're put into place. And of course, you can refuel and stuff like that if you want to, if you so desire, and but right now, you've now docked, and you can do your investigations. If you so desire.
Does Astra Unum have refueling capabilities?
Yes, actually, I think we discussed that. I think actually you guys should be fuel because I think we discussed that Astra Unum refueled you, so you shouldn't need to refuel here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't even spend the money here.
I think that came up actually last game. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've all been to big cities like this before, but you want to keep any of your personal affairs on internal pockets. You don't want it on any of your normal pant pockets. If you have a spare wallet, you might want to put a dummy wallet in the back pocket. Or don't. I don't give a fuck. I'm just letting you know.
Like, I'm broke, so. Let me see. Yeah, so I just prepare myself accordingly.
Like, I think this is the second planet I've ever been on.
Okay.
Jesus,
so,
are you serious?
Okay, so we all need to watch out for Clint because he's gonna look like a tourist. And when he's lost in the neon light, we got to make sure no one's in his pockets.
Also, something for you that I wanted to mention earlier, and I just slipped my mind. We were so busy with character stuff, Aston. While you're here, I'm sure your daddy would like you to check in on Arnold McCready.
I assume Aston knows who that is?
Yes. So he runs a Brax Courtney Enterprises repair and refueling station in New Atami. You know, it wouldn't hurt to just check in on him, see how business is going lately.
What was the name?
Arnold McCready. Basically just runs like you know how like trucking companies have like what do you call it? Like they'll have like multiple sites and that kind of stuff for like stopping, dropping off trailers, cargo, that kind of thing like that, repair shops, you know.
And is this just a social visitor? Does he owe Dad something?
It's just, I mean, you're the son of the company. It probably just a good idea for you to check in on things every once in a while when you're in the area. I mean, it's kind of your job, right? Well, I mean, it's just it's your job as just being the member of the family, you know.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna just bring my normal backpack with my stuff. I don't know what we're gonna run into, especially because we could bump into this guy. So,
well,
no.
If I have this contact on the ground, then I would mention this to everybody here and say, let's stop here first. Not only can I get the business out of the way, but Arnold should be able to give us a little bit more lay of the land information, the do's, the don'ts. With this being a Saisonese country, we want to make sure that we're not acting out of custom, doing anything to draw unwanted attention. Plus, he might be able to tell us a good place to start looking for someone who likes greasy burgers and Catholic service.
Before we leave the ship, being as you mentioned local customs and laws, are we even allowed our weapons on this planet?
Are you gonna give up your weapons? Does it matter?
I'm
Well, I tell you.
Well, I would like to know, but I'm not going to give
if the port authorities say no weapons allowed, and I'm not going to walk out with a combat rifle slung over my shoulder.
The answer is you're not allowed to walk. The answer is no, really.
So I'll still have my impact pistol inside of my...
There's nothing stopping you from finding someone who can give you weapons on the planet. Or you trying to get your weapons out. Does that make sense?
What about non-lethal, like stunner pistols?
Oh yeah, that's considered fine.
Okay.
Stunner pistols, tasers, that kind of stuff. They're fine.
Impact pistol? It's non-lethal.
Just depends on where you shoot them.
No.
It's my therapy weapon. I carry it for religious purposes.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm still gonna carry my pistol. Yeah. It's concealed, but yeah.
I mean, if you want me to help you as far as like gauging, so what happens is so you step out of the docks, right? The space dock. And so the space dock is essentially like it's like a big skyscraper that's got multiple, well, I say multiple, like probably hundreds of platforms on it. And everybody is essentially going down 5 or 6 like elevators per level, right? And once you get down, so it could take sometimes, like, if you're on the top level, it could take you an hour to get down sometimes to the bottom deck, bottom lobby.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's assuming that you're just on the passenger tower. If you're not on the industrial tower. But on the passenger level, I mean, that's actually better than some airports, but you get the idea. But that's, once you're down to the lobby, though, then you got to go through essentially customs, right? So, but the thing is with customs, it's such a clusterfuck. I mean, it might be possible to take a gun and like sneak it past people, right? Like, I mean, it's very impossible to kind of like. Here's the thing: they're not worried about people so much getting in with. They're not putting you through metal detectors to get in, right? They're more worried about passenger liners and that kind of stuff, and passenger vehicles on a large scale. Does that make sense? So they're just gonna look at people with security guards and just kind of make sure they're not toting in like rocket launchers and that kind of stuff. So, you know,
I'll leave my rocket launcher on the ship then.
so basically it'd be just like a security camera or like a notice roll contested by your ability to like hide the weapon. So. Okay.
Other than a combat knife, Clint will leave all the lethal stuff behind.
Okay. All right.
I'm assuming small things might be okay.
A knife?
Yes.
You're fine with a knife. I'm gonna look up stealth. Is stealth what you'd use to hide a weapon? I guess hide, move quietly.
Or thievery.
Thievery, yeah, I was just
thievery,
looking at
sleight of
that.
hand,
Crack safe,
misdirection,
Yep.
subterfuge.
misdirection.
Yep. Okay, I think thievery is probably more appropriate. Yeah.
A skill I've never even seen.
Yep. Okay, so I think thievery is more appropriate. Yeah. Yep. Sleight of hand. Okay. Yep. So that'll be a thievery roll from you to smuggle your weapon in. The impact pistol is not particularly small. It is a pistol, so it's going to get no penalties, no bonuses. Considering it's not like a tiny pistol, I'm not going to give it a bonus, but I'm also not going to give it a penalty. So, just a flat thievery roll. So,
Does that change anything? The fact that I've always had it established that I keep it in my like suit, coat, jacket.
if you're carrying a big coat or something like that, I'll say it gives you a +1. So,
Okay, yeah. I mean, they're not a big coat, but
Yeah.
like I wear like a formal
Yeah.
blazer type deal, and I keep it inside there. It's
yeah, I'll
concealed.
say it gives you a +1. Sure.
Sure, I'll put +1 on my unskilled. Let's see.
Well, that made a difference. So, +1 got you a success. All right, so let's see if they get let's see how they do on a notice. Because it is contested.
Yep.
All right. Their notice is not very high. Okay, I got a 3. You're good.
Can I just show them my intergalactic CCW
CCW? What is that?
conceal carry?
Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to. That's a good thing. You made the roll. All right. All right, so you got your impact pistol, but that's the only one you carried, right?
That's the only one. Yep.
All right, cool.
Marksman rifle I left. In
Did
the
anyone else carry anything illegal in? I need to roll against. Nope. Okay. Okay. Does anyone, now that they're in, want to try to meet up with illegal contacts with like an adventure card or anything like that? Want to try to get weapons? I mean, there's adventure cards for this kind of thing, I think, right? Favors. Want to try to get stuff? Nope. Okay.
If anybody does, I've got a card that'll definitely help with it. So, but I think we're pretty well armed for what we want to do.
Okay.
Or at least we think we are.
Spencer's got his mind.
Yeah. I
Okay.
just need to
Brain
bring
cannon.
my brain.
All right. So what was your first destination?
My vote would be in towards going to the Brax Courtney Repair and Refuel Shop to meet up with Arnold McCready.
Arnold McCready. Okay, so you find a shop with numerous bays that are made for ships, ship bays. So it's a rather large facility. and it's set on a slab. And wait, by the way, are you guys? You had to go through customs and all that stuff to check in. But once you did that, did you guys once you checked in and like assured your arrival and that kind of stuff, did you guys head back to use your landing shuttle to go around, or are you guys using like public transportation or what?
I assumed
defer to
public
the pilot on that
transportation, but
Okay.
I don't know if using a landing shuttle is necessarily appropriate or how that all works here.
If you have a pilot's license, you can acquire a temporary planetary license. So to use a landing shuttle.
Pilot's license. Where do we get one of those?
That's a good point, actually. Does your character have a pilot's license?
Oh, I don't believe that he does.
Yes, so public transportation it is. Okay, all right. All right. Okay, so public transportation. So you guys hop off the tram and head up a block or two. And so you guys reach Arnold McCready's, and it's as I described. And you sit it on a slab, and you guys make your way past a junkyard, and there you see it, covered in a nice sheen of rust and neon lights outside, and half of them not flickering. It says Brax Courtney enter, and the prize is just flickering. And then over the entrance sign it says McCready. And then it says offices in a white sign over the door. So
first, did we bring up a piloting license in conversation before we took this?
Before you what?
This is going to affect my demeanor.
I'm assuming you guys probably didn't, because he just kind of dropped it on the whole group, including the GM. So, I mean, it makes sense in the story that he doesn't have a pilot's license. It totally makes sense.
Well, right. I'm just making sure. Do we say, all right, do you want to rent a vehicle? And he's like, I don't have a license. And then we went that way, or did we just
I wouldn't even know that's a thing unless somebody told me.
Okay, I mean, I wouldn't know either, so I guess then that didn't come up then. Okay, so my demeanor is not going to be shitty right off the rip.
Like if y'all say, well, I'd rather take a vehicle and not do public transportation, and we go, and it's like, do you have a license? Well, huh? That might show it. So.
It'd be interesting if that was discovered through like a translation at like the license office. Like between you translating with says and knees between the person at the license office. It'd be interesting.
Me saying, all right, can I have your license? And he's like, I don't have a license. And I'm like, what? All right, so then, do I have some relationship with Arnold McCready already, or is it just someone like I know of?
If you want to. Tell me. You tell me.
If I have a relationship with him, it's going to change the fact that if he doesn't have the sign working properly to show off the business and he's a bad thing, I rolled a 2 for what my initial demeanor is going to be, so I'm looking at him unfavorably.
You did a reaction roll.
So, if I know him, that may change it. If we have some sort of family history, then maybe it wouldn't be quite as bad, and it would be more like a ball bust.
Well, maybe the reaction is the reaction roll from like maybe a year or two ago when you met him. Maybe it could be that you've just never liked Arnold McCready that much. Maybe you've just... Does that make sense? I mean...
I have an idea. I'm going to influence the story. This was where he was assigned as a punishment for his last failure.
Okay.
Who was assigned? Aston or Arnold McCready?
McCready.
All right, let me go ahead and remove him from my allies list.
Let's make some chaos.
All right.
All right.
So how well do you know Arnold McCready, though?
I don't know him super well. I know of him, but it's more of in an infamy type of way.
Okay.
Like his last fuck up was one of the factors that started leading the business into the gutter. Like how our business was starting to hit this decline. Basically, his failure fucked up something in such a way that it actually caused it was the straw that broke the camel's back on this. But Dad wanted to keep him on because he was one of the original people with the company. So they put him here as the punishment.
Okay, I'll add to that actually to help you out.
Sure.
Arnold McCready knows a lot of people, which your dad thinks is valuable, but he's too trusting. He's a big guy, and he looks scary, but he's a softie.
Okay. All right, then walk it. I'm going to stare at the sign for long enough that anybody who's there paying attention is seeing just this look of anger and just infuriation in my face.
Right.
And then take a second to try to compose myself and then walk in the offices.
Nice. Like it. I like it.
Just walk in. Creedy, you here?
McCready doesn't answer at first, but you hear someone in one of the bays.
Is there any like bell or anything obnoxious that I could ring?
Sure.
I'm gonna be that obnoxious guy and just ding 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 until I get a response.
You hear the creak of a chair, and then you see the big size 14 boots of McCready as he kind of steps around the door frame. And you guys see by the way, you guys are seeing an office that's it's definitely needs a repair work. It's definitely needs work done. It's definitely seen its better days. It's and there's papers everywhere. It's kind of a mess. Y'all have all seen those kind of like country style like shops. I'm sure y'all have been to plenty of those kind of places. Like every surface that's not like where there's not paperwork is covered with grease. You know? This is one of those kind of places. And he comes in doing a poor job of wiping his hands on like a work rag, right? And he comes in just like a gray t-shirt and a pair of jeans and a black belt with the largest belt buckle you've ever seen in your life, probably. And he's got a shaved head. I'm actually trying to find this picture. Hold on. Got a picture of him. Just gonna drop his token over the. There you go. So if you're young seeking Nakuro Prime, I just dropped his picture over Nakuro Prime.
Oh,
That's what he looks like.
we got a spammer.
Got a what?
We got a spammer in chat.
No. Oh,
That's how you know you're making it big.
Oh. Well, not anymore. All right.
Oh.
It's gone now.
Listen, Google Master is just trying to get you all the views that you can get.
Oh. Now, so he's got that cigarette in his mouth that looks like he hasn't like knocked the ash off in ages on the end. Stop moving my token. And he says, by the way, he seems like the kind of guy that wouldn't necessarily know that you're at bad terms. Does he know that y'all don't get along?
No, I've never had personal dealings with him.
Oh.
Everything that I know is anecdotal from what I've heard.
Okay. All right. He says, as I live and breathe.
Oh,
Usually how it works.
McCready, how are you?
I'm doing my best to try to keep this this sinking ship on the edge of the galaxy afloat.
Yeah. Is it just you working here?
Well, no, there's a couple more. I've got Neela, and I've got Carl, and I've got Hyung. There's a couple more.
Okay. I was, believe it or not, in the neighborhood and decided to just pop in and see how everything was going here.
Oh, okay. So the prince decided to grace us with his presence. All right. Well, we'll take a seat, my friend. And he just, he pulls
Thank you.
He says, well, I'm already working on it now. And he just takes some, folders and binders and stuff like that and just take them off a chair. And you can see, this, big, wet, greasy spot out from underneath the binders and folders of, when he pulls them off the seat and then he puts them on the desk. He says, there you go. There's a chair.
I'm gonna grab Spencer by the shoulders and try to force him into the chair.
What?
Thank you.
Oil.
No, you're fine. We won't be staying too long, so you don't need to break out chairs for the rest of us. Just seeing how everything was going. We don't have a lot of contact out in this area, so is there anything that you need from us?
He says, well, since you're here, maybe you could, take a look around the place if you don't mind. Convince your dear old dad that we could use some more money for some upkeep.
I'm already convinced. Who's maintaining the signs out front?
Well, Neela's the one who usually handles the repairs and electrical work.
Are they a good employee?
She works with what she can do. She works with what she's got.
But is she a good employee?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's see what we can do because we need to get a few things up to Brax Courtney standard here. But that's not on you. That's on us. Other than that, how you been? How's your health?
Well, I'm smoking. I don't know if that's good for me.
Probably not.
I drink a lot. I don't think that's good for me. But I think I'm doing all right.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Hey, you know any good burger joints around here?
I go to the slop shop a lot.
That's the name that I've heard before. Pretty good food there?
Yeah, it's the best place. Old Marcy Stockton. She makes some damn good grub.
And this isn't like a chain or anything. There's just one place with that name.
No. Not a chain. Definitely not a chain.
Marcy Stockton. I will have to pop in and sample some of the local delicacies. And then Ash is gonna stop for a second. Stop. Anyways, so how close do you keep your ear to the ground on local happenings here?
Pretty damn close. I mean, that's one of the things I'm known for. Is all my friends.
I do remember that. See, because the thing that brought us out here is that we're actually looking for someone who, well, let's just say that they could be a danger to themselves, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Off the record. I know you're good with this sort of information, so I don't have to worry about you. But I was wondering if you had any contacts we could reach out to find someone who might be lost in the crowd here.
All right, I'll put feelers out.
We want to keep this one a little bit closer to the chest, just for the fact that it is sensitive, and if they are not in the right state of mind and they find out that someone's looking for them, that might be something to set them off. And we don't want that to happen for their sake.
What's the name?
I'm not going to give him the name. We don't have a name to go off of right now. That's the problem. How about this? We're going to hit the town a little bit, try to get some more information. If I can get a name, can I reach out to you anyway?
You got to give me something here so I can look. I need some information.
I know, so that's what we're going to go find, is to get you at least that feeler that you can sink your hook into. So we'll try to get us a name so we have something to give you here. Just send me your comlink info, and that way I can call you if I need to.
All right.
And I will reach out to try to see if there's some way we can allocate some more funding here to get you the help that you need.
Sounds good.
Well, it was nice seeing you again. Hey, do you have any operable passenger vehicles here that we could use to maybe travel around town a little bit quicker?
I do. Yeah, got one in the bay just this way. Come on.
Thank you, sir.
And you kind of follow him, and you notice he's got kind of a slow stride. Probably old injuries or something or other. And you come out to the bays, and you see a woman that kind of darker skin, hair pulled back tight, and kind of like a mechanic's jumpsuit. And she's not in the bays, she's outside the bays, out in the dusty ground. And she's kind of bathed under the neon lights, overhead from the advertisements and holographic displays and that kind of stuff like that. And she's not alone. She's out there talking to a pair of people. Make a notice roll, someone at a -2. Well, anyone can actually. Wow, someone really...
Fucking 21. Oh, it's only a 19. You didn't do -2.
Oh.
Okay. So Aston, you can see that she you can see that the two pair of individuals hand her something as she looks back at you all. But as she sees Spencer, as she sees the 5 of you appear through the bays and start walking towards the vehicle, she looks startled, Spencer. And they hand her something. You've seen many transactions like this during your time with the Tanu Clava. There's definitely some illicit dealings, illegal transaction, or something going on. And she's definitely startled by what's happening. They have a short conversation. There's a trade going on. They hand her some kind of drugs or whatever. And she takes it from them real quick, and then they part and go their separate ways. She stuffs it in her front pocket of her mechanic's jumpsuit, and then she just nods at them real quick, and then just starts coming back towards Arnold.
Okay, so I just tap Aston. I'm like, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a handoff.
Arnold.
Picked something up.
Arnold
In her front pocket.
Arnold shouts at her and says, Neela! Is the SP-5000 ready to go? Yeah, it's ready to go. They gonna be taking it out? Yeah, go get the keys for him.
Hey, before you go, come on over here. I'd like to introduce myself.
Okay, of course. And you are?
Is her hands dirty and shit too?
Her hands are clean right now.
I'm going to extend a hand. I am Aston Courtney of the Brax Courtney Enterprise.
This is her. She says, "Hi, I'm Neela. I work here. Wow, you're the big boss, huh?"
Yeah, I'm the little boss.
Oh,
Big boss is dad.
Well, so I'm kind of the tech person around here. So,
it's nice to meet you. Are you responsible for the lights out front?
yeah, I do most of the electrical stuff. So, I would fix it, but we don't really have the parts to get it working right.
Well, how about this? At the very least, put together a list of what you need to fix that sign, because we can't be representing the company and not even have the full name lit up.
I played an adventure card because it's almost over. I'll never get a chance to use it on the priest.
Good thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
All right.
so
Yeah. Take advantage of it.
You gonna step in, or do you want me?
Or are
to
you using it for Aston?
I'm more using it for Aston.
Okay,
If that's okay.
that's perfect. Because I was actually gonna pull her to the side, anyways.
It's just she's so overwhelmed at his corporate presence or whatever.
Yeah. So I would pull her to the side a little bit away from McCready the best that I could.
Okay.
And then just say, so what kind of shit are you dealing on the side, and is it going to bring any negative attention to the company?
First, thank you for helping me fix the lights and signs outside. And second, look, I'm really sorry about what you just saw. Okay. All right. And look. Look. It helps us out.
Okay. I'm not a mean man, but I'm also not a patient one. So
No,
we're going to have to skip
no.
the pronoun games here.
Okay.
What?
No, the dealing.
Okay.
We wouldn't be open anymore if it wasn't for the dealing.
So we're doing that shitty of a job that we're not able to keep the doors open without you doing side business. That's good to know too. I will have
Yeah.
to report that one over.
No,
So
yeah, look, I
I'm not mad at you. You don't have to be worried.
smuggle contraband underneath vehicles. And then we just get them to certain people. That's it. We do transportation.
And who are these people?
They're just oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Do you really want to know? Oh god, I'm gonna be fired.
Hey, McCready, can you walk me through the operation of this vehicle?
The only people you can do business with in Iwatani. Like this. It pays well.
Hey, I'm new here. Maybe I want to reach out to them. Who are they?
I deal with a man who answers to the Yakuza.
Oh, so just a small time outfit. That's good. Okay, so I don't assume at this point you could pull out of these trade deals even if you wanted to.
I don't know. I haven't tried. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
been
don't
too lucrative.
And how often are you doing this?
A deal every couple weeks. A move every couple weeks.
So you're putting it in the cars, getting the cars to the Yakuza, and then they are taking it from there.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to help Arnold compose a list of what we need here. Ideally, I'm going to be real with you. I don't want you doing this shit here. But if this is the only thing keeping it afloat, I can't very well penalize you for it. But I will do my part to try to get everything square here, which means that I need you to do the same. You want to deal with the shit, do it on your own time. But you're going to do what you're going to do as soon as I walk out the door here. So yeah. I'm not going to ratch out, don't worry. So, how about this? How well connected are you on the streets here?
I guess I'm pretty well connected. I guess. I mean, Yakuza and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to forget that I've seen everything. You are going to find me information on someone named Philip Lillard. He's someone here that we're looking for. He can't know that we're looking for him. I don't trust McCready enough to give him a name. Because McCready trusts everybody. But the way I see it, you seem like you might be a little bit more discreet with who you talk to.
Okay. All right. Well, you're giving me a second chance. I'll do
Not
it.
only that, you can continue doing what you're doing until I can get this place in order.
Okay. All right.
Here's my comlink information. I need information as close to now as possible on this. So do what you need to do.
Okay. All right.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. And then she kind of runs to get the keys. All right, so I will be the GM. Will be right back. I got a dog hassling me to want to go outside. I'll be right back.
Yep.
All right.
All right, cool. Now that Shane's not here to hear me ask this, what was her name?
Neil or Neela, something like that.
Neela,
Neela.
I think.
Neela.
I have a card that says Hidden Stash. Allows me to scrounge up mundane necessities. So you think if I use this card and use it like print out like a pilot's license, just like a totally valid pilot's license, you just cut it off with a piece of printer paper.
There's a pilot license already in the glove box. I'm like, oh,
You just
look.
write your name on it.
Right, yeah, it's just blank line, just not signed yet. You're like, oh, Clint Burl.
Perfect.
It's mine.
And then the funny thing is, I've got a card. What's it called? Desperate Times. Play to take any one adventure card from the discard pile. So we just play it again. Like, oh, there's this fat stack of cash. Yeah. It's drug money.
yeah,
Yeah.
the offline money.
Yeah. All that. Yeah, we find Neela's like big drug stash or something.
Oh, someone played a card when I came back.
Yeah. I find a mundane necessity. It's a totally valid pilot's license that has yet to be signed or a picture of a box.
Oh, that's funny. Necessity of some sort, such as food, water, shelter. Oh, nice. Okay. So it's like a paper. It's like a paper valid pilot's license, and you're like, I want to get this put in digitally, please. And it's like, and you filled out the form. Nice.
Nice.
Stupid internet. All right, it's back. Good deal. All right. Good deal. All right, good deal. You found a form to pilot's license. All right, filled out. All right, cool. All right, sweet.
Passed the test and everything.
All right, sweet. Okay, so what's next for you guys? So we can talk about what'll be happening next session.
Anybody that wants to talk, go ahead. I've been talking this whole time.
Well, if we'd
no.
gone to the priest, I was going to play Spill the Beans. If we'd gone to the slot shop, I was going to buy everybody a meal. So I used my 2 cards.
Ooh.
We never go where I want.
Here we go. I got an idea.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to do. Okay,
No, go ahead, Spencer.
go. No. I was going to say go ahead because the only thing Spencer wants to do is go get a hamburger.
Okay.
That's it.
Shaun, you play the card for us to do, to use any card again.
Okay.
We jump cut to the priest. You play the spill the beans on the priest. And then we can end the session. And then we play it in this session.
Oh my goodness.
And we can get all the information from the priest that we need.
Oh my
Next
goodness.
session.
Perfect. It's flawless. I have only combat related action cards again. So
That is so funny. Well, then y'all should have put. Well, that's the thing. You know, you don't really know where to find the combat. You should have went and beat up people. I guess. I don't know.
yeah.
You're like,
All right, I'm gonna go shoot Neela.
that's funny. Let's go shoot Neil. Oh, that's funny.
Sorry. I
No,
had
if
the
you're
card.
gonna do it, you do it to McCready and you promote her. So you have a
Yeah, no pressure, but if you
Date.
fuck up, this is what's gonna happen to you.
It's funny that it feels like you went to like, I don't know, like you've laid so many seeds. So if y'all hadn't figured out yet, basically this session is over. So like, okay, so the session's over. But like, let's just talk for a second on camera in front of the audience too while we're here. So like, I feel like there's so many, like, you guys are searching in so many nooks and crannies, and then asking so many other people to help you out. I feel like I don't know where you want me to use. Like, as I don't know, I feel like I don't know out of character, like, where you want me to reward you from. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense.
Because
Yeah,
you're dropping
thing with
in
it is-
everywhere. You're like, I don't. It's like, where do you want to be the place that is valuable to you? Does that make sense from a story perspective?
Right. No, my thing is just basically if I can cast as many lines as possible, one of them should get a nibble. That's kind of what my thought is on it.
Yeah, I can understand that thought. But I mean, if you, I mean, that's valuable. That's kind of like fishing with 7 poles. But, yeah.
Well, yeah, and when we're going into a situation where we're literally feeling in the dark, that to me seems like a viable approach because it's like, all right, this chick right here, like, what's she gonna do at this point? Like, she's gonna help because either she's gonna help or she's gonna try to get the Yakuza to stop me, which that seems like a bad choice on her part. So that seems like a pretty decent thing. I didn't want to tell McCready because the description of him was he's too trusting.
But you started out like you were going to tell him. So I was like...
I was going to, and then that's what I was sitting there thinking was like, he's too trusting. So it was hopefully like, do you know anybody who might be able to help with this? And he's like, yeah, give me a name. And it's like, no, I'm hoping you would give me a name. But if that's not the way this is going to work, then you know what? We'll give it back to you. It's not you, it's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my thought with that.
So early on, I was trying to be helpful to be like, oh, well, there's the slop shop diner, and then, oh, there's the church and that kind of stuff. But then you guys got to the planet and still started throwing out, y'all started casting even more lines. And I was like, I felt like, why didn't y'all go chase the lines I've already thrown you?
Well, that was going to be the plan, but then you threw the other line of, you need to go check on this guy. So I was like,
well, that was a different thing for you to explore. That wasn't necessarily, that wasn't.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, I guess, sure.
He's someone on the ground that would have more intimate knowledge of the surroundings than you would have. So it just made sense to kind of do both.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I get you. It makes sense.
Yeah, good. I got you.
But just think of it this way:
Yeah.
I gave you so many things that you can fuck us with.
Well, and I mean, the other reason we probably want to watch how many people we're including in this operation is we don't want word to get back to him that we're on to him or we're looking for him.
Yeah.
I guess. So that is a concern, I guess.
Well, that's
so
why I
think
didn't want McCready to have a name.
Okay, yeah. Because I think if we do go after
well,
the priest,
you only told the Yakuza, so.
I mean, who's better at finding somebody than them?
Yeah.
Now, a non-story stuff related thing. If y'all get a chance, take a look at the salvage note. That has the salvage things I put in there. It's all links, so you can see roughly what they're worth, and some ideas that we use for upgrading the ship.
Yeah, so that's also one of the reasons why I talked to Matt and Shaun about last session about it is one of the reasons why. Actually, I didn't tell you guys. I told them after the last session. So Anthony Wright took over ownership of the ship. It was in Levi's will. Basically, like he didn't think the rest of you guys could handle the payments on it, that kind of stuff like that, just because it's too valuable, too expensive, and that kind of stuff. So he just gave it over to him, but only under the agreement that. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to do the fucking thing where y'all have to. I forgot about the moral clause. Crap, I have to go over that with y'all guys. Aston and Clint. But basically, there's this moral clause where basically just y'all can essentially use the ship. He owns it, but the agreement is that as long as he owned it, you guys are the crew of it. kind of like a lease agreement essentially, but it's kind of like in his will, right? Levi's will. You guys are the crew of it, but there's essentially like a moral clause, right? Essentially like since Anthony Wright's basically like a president of a country, essentially, you guys can't basically basically just be committing crimes and that kind of stuff, murdering people and that kind of stuff while you're in the ship. I mean, that's not saying that you can't do it. It's just saying
Yeah, Spencer.
it's just saying if you do it, it's going to come back on him as long as he owns the ship. So
Right.
it's just a simple
It's a
clause
plausible
basically saying,
deniability.
it's a moral contract basically. I mean, it's not uncommon at all. Like, I mean, when I hired into my company, I had to sign a moral contract basically saying I'm going to act in the behavior befitting my company, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
on social
firefighters,
media,
police officers, EMTs, they have the moral turpitude.
Yeah, moral
Teachers,
turpitude, yeah. So I do it in my company. It's not uncommon. So basically it's also too it's in lease agreements with apartments and that kind of stuff. If you commit felonies or whatever, they can evict you. So but yeah, basically that's the idea. So but that's the way it works. So basically you guys, as long as you signed it and you agreed to it, you guys can continue to be the crew of it. So if you guys do anything illegal in it, just make sure it doesn't come back to Anthony Wright. So or come back to the police and you don't get a warrant on you. So
Yeah. He probably just slipped that in when I was telling him to find me the information about who led to Levi being killed so I could kill him. He probably dropped that moral clause in there somewhere.
yeah, that's
By
probably
the
that's probably how we'll have to say it happened since I forgot to do it. So as a GM. So but yeah. So but anyways, the goal of that though is that I felt like prior to us introducing that, it was kind of like this financial burden on you guys with the wealth roll every month or so, pay for the ship. And then I was like, you guys can upgrade the ship and stuff like that if you guys don't have that wealth roll and stuff like that every month or something like that to pay for the ship. So and part of that though is this stuff like weapons and and various things. So but you guys are on the first step of that, right? So now that you guys got some salvage, that kind of stuff, so and maybe not spending, $50,000 at a time on alpha missiles. So
Yeah, now we know how to find them.
Yeah,
just
in
play
janitor
cards.
closet.
Yeah. So all right. So we
Speaking
will.
You gotta check the.
Is
you gotta
there
check
one in
repair shop.
the trunk?
In the trunk? No, there's not one in the trunk.
Everyone spend all your bennies.
Spend all your bees.
For the
Dump your
episode.
bunnies out. It's like a dice bag just dumped on the floor and hopefully alpha missiles fall out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
he's repairing ships. There's got to be at least one in there somewhere.
Well, that's something to ask him. But unfortunately, I already called this game over. So, all right. So,
You see,
all right.
like racings, they use the nitrous oxide, but in this one, they use alpha missiles. They just
Yeah,
strap that in.
strap alpha missiles onto the back of the
Free
ships for
racer roll.
extra nos.
Yeah.
So,
No.
all right, so we're gonna call it a night here. So, thank you everybody joining us. So we're gonna call it a night here. So, I cannot remember if we're playing next week. I'll have to check the schedule.
I think
It's,
the second is no game, and then you have games the rest of November.
Yes, no game next week because I'm working night shift, but we're back. We're back the 9th of November, and we're on for all the way on through December the 14th. So we're good. So unless of course the players can't play for some reason. But all right, so we'll see y'all 2 weeks from now. All right, y'all have a good night.
Cool.